Okay, quick disclaimer. 1. This game runs like complete dog crap on the Xbox One and PS4. 2. CDProjekt Red should have been working on this game for a bit more or have delayed it just entirely. 3. Certain elements of this game needs to be fleshed out some more, or I guess they took parts out of it, but those are facts that I will not dispute. And 5. There will be some spoilers in this review. No ending spoilers, but just some. But if chances are by now you probably would have been playing Cyberpunk or, something like that, or you have seen your favorite YouTuber already review this game, but just a quick heads up. With that being said, I would like to say that Cyberpunk 2077 is just a shy of being an all-time great game, with performance issues and core mechanics holding it back by 2 points, giving it a total score of 8 out of 10. I don't want this review to go on too long, so I'll try my best to keep things short as to why I gave it an 8 out of 10. I give my reviews a 10 out of 10 metric rating with 2 to 3 existing games, but honestly, say those scores are mainly seen on the Steam store on PC. I have to give a game, in my personal experience, a 10 out of 10 realistically. Having played games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War, the reboot, and Halo 3. I mean, speaking in terms of peak gaming titles, with, let's say, Red Dead Redemption 2 placing a 9 out of 10, God of War placing a 9.5 out of 10, and Halo 3 taking a solid 9.5 out of 10. And again, these are just, in my opinion, this is off the top of my head. I think in order to receive a 10 out of 10, I would have had to find the game with no issues, or core parts of the game that core parts of the game are in perfect sync with what the game is trying to achieve. Even with huge title like those, I don't think I'll come across a straight 10 out of 10. I could be wrong though, life's short to never say never. So with that being said, let's move on to the review. Whether you bought into the hype of it or not, there is no denying that CDProjekt Red had a great game in the works for us. Putting politics aside, CDPR had a way with storytelling in this game that after a few hours of driving around, mindlessly looking at how beautiful the city looked, I was ready to dive deep into the futuristic city, not knowing what events and people I was going to meet. Truth be told, I think at the very heart of this game, and this review for example, I think it's its characters. I think that's what ties this game together to greatness. It's simply like Johnny, Silverhand, and Alt's story to Deliman, the AI. Those arcs are so good. I can't even begin to explain to you. And all of this reaching to the end with the mayor of Night City. There's so much to absorb in this world. I thought that running around collecting cars for Deliman, for example, was going to be boring, run-of-the-mill, find a missing car for a big payoff in the end type of missions. I feel like Rockstar has had me a bit too programmed in the stale missions. However, in the end of finding all of the cars, you're treated to a new event that triggers some new outcomes for you. the AI goes rogue and you and Johnny have a heart to heart about what it means to live in the world side by side with AIs and humans. Without being too invested, I caught myself enjoying that last bit of dialogue between the three of you. Honestly, it just cemented a good piece of the game in my heart. That's not to say that I was all sunshine and rainbows. The final mission, the Dilliman glitched out on me and wouldn't let me progress, despite how many attempts I did to do it. There was a part where I had to walk in. At the very end of the mission, halfway through, you'd have to walk into the factory, right? And the whole place is lit up by electricity. And there's a part where you have to push a car in the middle of the way so that you have access to drop another car. Well, that part glitched out. And so it wouldn't actually drop the vehicle in order for me to jump onto it and then jump onto the other taxi that's right across. And so I caught myself having to jump to the spot where the car would land and then jump into the other taxi. But at that time, I didn't have double jump. So I would just continuously land and get electrocuted. So the whole thing just sucked. So I just gave up. And then I decided, you know what? I want to go play the game, get enough points so that I could get double jump. But that was way down the road. That was like 10-15 hours later that I decided to go back, because that mission was at the beginning of the game for me. So I did that, got double jump, went back, and then found a way to get onto the other side so I could continue the mission. But that glitch, those bugs shouldn't have happened, and they did. But I mean, I have experience with bugs like this, especially if you go back into the early days of the PS2 games. You would have to do stuff like that just to complete a mission or get a mission started. And I remember something like this happening in Jak and Daxter way back in the day. So I'm used to bugs, and sometimes they could be a lot of fun. In this case, I didn't think of it too much as, great, I'm never going to be able to get forward in this game. This is a game breaker for me. As a matter of fact, I think I just got so used to playing games with bugs in them that I would find ways to go around them, or just to break the game in general, or find a way to get past the limits. Like maybe go under the map to go back up. But this is just like ways that I would do stuff like this, specifically in Skyrim too, when mission dialogues would get jammed and you can't talk to the NPCs that would give them to you. Well, moving on to more of this story base, there were people like Panam and Riviera. While both being potential romantic interests, they had some amazing pieces. From detective work with Riviera and trying to track down a cycle, all the way to running with the nomads and causing chaos to rival gangs. Both arcs left me with so much more to be desired in terms of content. However, that's just on me. I thought that it hit the sweet spot for doing missions and getting to know these characters' worlds without it dragging on or feeling like you needed to get on with it. I really wanted a good cop, bad cop mission with Rivera. Like, I wanted way more of those. That was so much fun, of breaking in, finding data about something, and then finding that Easter egg that everybody's talking about. I thought that was so cool, and I wanted way more missions like that. But in the end, we only got a handful, maybe like 2 or 3 of these kinds of missions before it turned into a family rescue romantic arc, for those of you that went down that path. I also really wanted more missions with Panam. Obviously, everybody wants more missions with Panam. I mean, that girl thick. Anyways, and the Panam, I just wanted to see more with the stolen vehicle you guys took from the corpos. I feel like that test drive was way too short. There should have at least been a mission or 2 later down the road that gets you to use it. But you only use it that one time when you're testing it out, and then you get invaded, and then you use it again. And that's the last time you get to use it. That's such a waste. Maybe you should be able to buy it. I don't know. I also wanted to see how Panam leads the Alicaldos at the very end of the events on her arc. Or just to have her call in once in a while after a big story plot happened. Like when V gets out of the ice tub in Pacifica. Maybe she could ask why you weren't online, or answering her calls or texts. Or just to explain what was going on with Johnny and something that you just discovered. Pass it on to her. And not just to her. Maybe like your romantic interest was Rivera. Or maybe it was Judy. Oh, I think there was one more. I haven't explored all of them yet. I'm still going. I'm taking my sweet time on this game. But yeah, there was things that I wish that I could explore some more. The texting in this game did leave a lot to be desired too. I wish you could call certain people to get their opinions on story plots that would happen throughout the game. Aside from just getting the occasional text about a mission location or your next ride to buy, eventually those just get boring, and really texting doesn't mean much to you afterwards, except for like when certain side characters text you about going to a mission, or hey, come over back to my place to continue a side mission. The small bit that we did was great, but having to choose the right dialogue to continue a conversation or getting more intimate with these individuals would have been badass. Second is the blood and veins of this game is the gunplay. While it's not innovating in the first-person genre, it brings everything you'd like from a first-person shooter. High-speed gunplay to dodging and strafing, to melee combat and double jumps and having to slide around and, use your abilities to just shank everybody, and it makes you feel like you're John Wick. Mods and attachments leave much to be desired, but are very useful in the end. While late game, you feel like you're too OP, and one shooting almost everything, it feels like it's not balanced. It still feels a little balanced, with police still being really hard to kill, and some side missions that are labeled red are still being extremely hard to beat. Even if you can't, there's still a way to go around these enemies that can one-shot you, and that's the sneaky way around it. Sneaking around and hacking your way through this game can be so much fun, rewarding, even giving sense to the whole cyber side of the game. Upgrading your RAM and finding new implants and upgrades can be so much fun. To whistling for enemies to move to a certain location, or hacking all the cameras, then causing them to suicide, or doing it all the old school way and just snapping everyone's neck. There's even cool boxes scattered throughout the whole game that lets you dispose of bodies so you don't get found out. There's even a whole skill tree section just for sneaking and being a quote-unquote cold-hearted bitch. None of these elements are new, but are used in the way that they're intended. If you want to run and gun your way through this game, you can. Or you can hack and sneak your way through the game. You can do it both equally rewarding to the player. However, one is a little bit more than the other, simply because hacking proves to be a necessity in the game, as hacking computers and security stations prove to give you huge sums of money and upgrade components at all given times, especially once you start leveling up. The last thing I want to discuss in this game is the driving. All good open worlds have a way for you to get from point A to point B, whether it's cars or horses to weird chicken things called chocobos from Final Fantasy. Chocobos. It's important that these sections feel fun and different each time you're in one, especially since you'll be in one the whole time of the game. Cyberpunk has a great selection of vehicles that you can get into and drive, from sports cars to off-road cars to bikes and SUVs. However, there's a big difference through each vehicle. Although it is only speed that feels like changes throughout most of these vehicles, while there is only huge SUVs that have a big chance of rolling in sharp turns versus any other car. Sports cars can cause you to lose control real fast, kill 5 pedestrians in one turn, slide into the next sidewalk and killing 2 cops, slamming into the wall and right back onto the cop car, and now you have 2 stars and every cop in every corner is trying to kill you. This is going to sound weird, but the game running on quality over performance spawns more pedestrians. In my taste, way too many pedestrians. Yeah, I've seen videos comparing videos from E3 to the release, and that there's way more people on the E3 video, but everyone's saying that's a cutback and that it's a bad thing. Honestly, it's way too much people. It's so easy to kill someone instantly while you're driving around this map, especially if you have it on quality where all these NPCs just spawn. It's a no for me. Bugs and glitches aside, simply because I feel like those will get fixed in the game's lifetime, no game has ever came out bug-free and glitch-free, especially full open-world RPGs. While people have a right to be mad at the game's condition on release, I think it's best to say that it feels and looks like they were trying to give people the game they truly felt next-gen. However, you'll run into things like infamous Star Citizen that has been in development so long that people are giving up on it, and people are tired of throwing money into that game, and it still has no release date. It's still in beta, and it's been many years, and it still hasn't come out. It's crazy how a crazy amount of time to make these games, and even crazier amount of time to get things right. Yes, there are things to be said about leadership in these things, but I'll leave that topic for another time. However, one thing I can't simply set to the side, core of this game, all of the mechanics, plots, things that can't be patched out or updated, Much of the world feels unfinished, and not in a bad way. Things like food vendors, it almost feels like you can go to any vendor and buy food. However, that's not true. Only a few of them you can. Racing is another, a huge one I might add. You only get a few races to do in a side mission, where you drive with your partner trying to take them out by shooting at them. Yet it feels like the shooting is there just for looks, as if I've never seen a car blow up or take damage from the bullets. They do slow down and try to get behind you to avoid it. It all feels hollow though. Another thing is mentioning are the gangs. They're there, but they feel hollow, like they were about to add more stuff or get more gang stuff involved in this game. It's usually just cops versus one gang, and you're just doing your thing in the world. Sometimes taking out a corner of the gang members feels like nothing, like you did anything, and when you come back later, they're back again. I wish there was more part of that game that said you can clean out that part of the city of this gang and the NPCs would be thankful towards you, or more resentful, removing the fixers or selling out of the area. They'd get mad at you for doing one of the others, so I feel like that would have been a cool little system to throw into, but beggars can't be choosers, right? The police system is something that leaves me so much to be desired. As long as you're out of the line of sight in the minimap, you can get away with no matter how many stars you have. As long as you manage to leave that little area where they're looking for you, you'll be A-okay. They won't even bother to chase you. Whether you're on foot or you're in a car, you're gonna get away. There's so much there, and so much can be learned from Rockstar's games. I really don't want to compare those two games, simply because Rockstar, this is what they do, right? This is their element, but the thing about Rockstar games is they're super duper repetitive. And if I'm going into the topic of having to compare them, then I have to say how much they haven't changed their format of going throughout their GTA games to Red Dead games. It's always the same thing. Well, there doesn't give you much options for RPG elements in GTA and Red Dead. You don't get much in choice really, aside from letting somebody go or killing them. That's about it. It really doesn't affect much of the story. In the end, this was just a small review. There's so much to talk about, good and bad. I could ramble on for hours about things I enjoyed and things that needed to be changed or fixed, but I managed to talk about some of the more important things I thought were worthy to bring up without giving main points away. Hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, this is my first review on a game and I'm still getting the hang of it. I'm currently typing out a script for a video and I have never done this before. I'm too scatterbrained to do a whole review off the top of my head and still stay on track. And the fact that I mess up some of my script and didn't proofread it so that I would get some of these sentences straight. But this is my first time, guys. Cut me some slack. Anyways, guys, be sure to tell me what you guys enjoyed about Cyberpunk, and let's get a good discussion going down below in the comment section. Leave a like on the video. It will definitely help some more, since I'm pretty sure I'm going to get flagged for the song choice in the intro. Anyways, guys, thanks again for checking out my video. Until next time, peace.